Hello, and you're all very welcome back to another Zero Bucks Given podcast here in Legacy Studios in the beautiful city of Galway, that is the city of the tribes. It is a very early podcast. Well, you don't know that because you don't know what time you're going to be listening to this, but it is a morning podcast, so we're very fresh. And last night I was very excited. I could barely sleep. I was like a little kid on Christmas Eve waiting for Santa to come down the chimney because the guest that is joining me in the podcast studio this morning, I've been very excited to have on since I only asked him a couple of days ago, but it's important that this happens right now in this moment because we will never have this moment in my county, that is Mayo, again. And I think the whole of Ireland can appreciate it. This morning I am joined in the podcast studio by Stephen Grealis.
Yeah, you have it right.
Am I right there?
Yeah.
Perfect. You're very welcome to the Zero Bucks Given podcast.
Thank you very much. I'd never recorded a podcast at 10 to 6 in the morning before, but look, here we are. We're fresh. We're fresh.
Well, you know what they say. If you get a reputation for getting up before 7 in the morning, you'd never have to get up until 12.
It sounds about right, anyways.
Yeah, very good. Really excited about this little chat because obviously Mayo winning the All Ireland feels like only a couple of days ago, but now it's about 2 weeks, is it?
15 days.
15 days. Yeah, and 3 hours and 2 minutes.
That Twitter account going how many days since Mayo won the All Ireland? They're actually getting better traction now since they've won it than I think they had previously. But yeah, we're on day 15 as All Ireland champions.
Brilliant. And we will get into all that and the magic moment and the viral clip and everything that I put out a questionnaire last night when I was letting people know that you were coming on. So there's loads of questions and we'll get into all of them later on as well. But let's go back, as I always do with all my guests, especially when they're off the first time, to the beginning. 7-year-old Stephen, what had he plans for? Had he any plans at all, or was he just enjoying life, enjoying childhood?
He probably was. No, he was. He was stone mad into sport.
Right, from that age.
Yeah, stone mad into sport. Never absolutely brilliant at it.
Okay.
Good to a degree, some parts, but never absolutely world beaten at anything. But stone mad for it, would watch pretty much anything with the exception of cricket.
Okay.
I think that's a given. No explanation needed there. But would watch.
Especially if you're Irish.
There you go. Would watch, and even now, in fairness, I hear they're getting on well these days.
Right.
So kudos to them. But really enjoyed sport, all that, and. Like how to put it, when we were young, my grandparents next door, of course, they had Sky Television, and sure, my grandfather, another man, loved sport. I'd be up there day and night, watching whatever was on, and
So you came into when Sky Sports was
pretty much,
yeah, okay,
yeah, pretty much.
See, I was in my mid-teens before Sky was a thing, so that'll tell you you're a bit younger than I am. So where are we talking here?
We're talking around about the mid-noughties.
No, but where? Where?
Oh, down in a lovely village called Lettra in Ballycroy in County Mayo.
Ballycroy.
Soft ground, nice country. The N59 road runs right through it.
Salt of the earth country.
Yeah, nice little place. I said we got electricity there as well in the mid-noughties too.
Okay.
We're hoping to have running. No, yeah, that's home. Still is home.
Yes.
Good part of the world, and yeah. Grew up there and just kind of enjoyed it like that, and been out there. You had so much room when you got
scope.
Yeah, exactly. Got my first set of goalposts when I was young, and would spend hours upon hours out there. My mother, hounded me to come inside and eat your dinner, that sort of stuff. But
that's the common theme, even for the common theme, especially in the country with people. They used to be able to go out, and there isn't so much of that anymore. And I'd love to see kids going back out to that again. Had you brothers or sisters to?
I did, yeah. Younger brother and sister that I was forced to go in goal and different things like that. And
yes.
Kick shot after shot at. And,
okay.
They'd handle that for a while, and would eventually just get sick and tired of me and leave. But I'd still stay there myself for another while.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, I still would.
Brilliant. The fact that was it sports that you wanted to be involved with then growing up?
Yeah, it came with it. Like it came with it. Completely came with it. Always did. Like so, even from when I was young, and my memory doesn't probably even go back this far. But from 2, 3, like my father would have played football, and sure, every weekend you were going off watching him play, and you were sat on the sideline at games from yay height or whatever it was, and kept going, and just the bug was there. If the television was on, there was football on or something else was on. I also have a massively keen interest in darts, and again that probably comes from my grandfather who was next door to us as well. He'd have watched an awful lot of that. But like that, from that young age, 7 or 8, if there was something on the television, whatever it might be sport wise, I would find myself talking about it and trying to so commentate on it. Now I'm sure the people at home at the time would have said, "Will this lad ever just?" you know? But they tolerated it, and here we are today.
Well, obviously that you were making some sort of sense, and sport it's part of day-to-day life, especially in Ireland. We're a sports mad country, and if you have some knowledge of any of the main sports, you have something to talk about with another Irish person. So it is very important to have some knowledge of sport, and whether it be down in the pub or whether it be shopping or just watching a match or whatever, it's always great to have some knowledge of sport, something to talk about. A bit like the soaps I was going to say for the women, but women are very much involved in. I'm very contentious what I just said there. But very, very much and that's another thing that the Camogie is just after finishing up in Cork, and it's great to see so many spectators. It was a record crowd for the.
Yeah, I think it was 33,000 or something in Croke Park.
Yeah.
Brilliant, like super stuff, and it is good to see. Funny you're on about talking sport and this and that. Like the last few weeks have been a bit mad. I can't wait for the day someone comes up talking to me, just stopping me in the street or coming up talking to me about something that isn't sport, and that's mad for someone who loves it. It would be it'd be not weird, but it'd be an interesting one if someone didn't. But look at it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and sport is one thing as we've seen, and look at I think we know probably from been Mayo this last while, but sport always brings people together, and no more so than recently. Certainly down our side, it has, and you know there is something quite magical about it.
Yeah. You obviously finished national school, secondary school. Was there a college?
There was up here. Yeah, the land of the tribe. Spent a bit of crack above in Galway. A lovely art student. Had the time of his life. Came out with some form of a degree.
Okay.
Had some great years up here. Even though kind of some of them were through COVID as well, but still enjoyed the crack and kind of didn't realise we're living the days of our lives at the time. But
absolutely,
such fun. Right, and you know what? For that reason, I still have great time for the city of Galway. Really, really do.
I love Galway. It is my second home, and I had the two boys, Martin Maloney and Peter Cassidy, the two Hardy Bucks characters. For anyone that doesn't know, but I'm sure everyone knows at this stage. Up the other day, and we were in the podcast, and we went down for some food afterwards, and we were just reminiscing about all the Galway days, the Galway years. It was something. There was something special about Galway, and going to college in Galway. No, I was only doing a course, but I lived in Galway for a little bit around the same time, so I got to experience all the college life, even though I wasn't in college, if that makes sense.
You nearly had the very best of it. You weren't thinking about a 9 o'clock lecture that you had to miss.
Had to miss.
But see, well, the beauty about it was there was a time there too where you could log on online and sort of view it online as well. So we really had the best of it. There was I'm sure there was, definitely not for myself, but perhaps some of my mates and my housemates, and they would have had maybe turned it on and maybe sort of nodded off and picked up the last 2 minutes of it again. But look, it was all good fun, and it's at a time of your life, you know, you're what, you're 19, you're 20, you're going off, you're experiencing something very, very new, and there's a nice feel. It's like, as you said, Galway's a second home. There's a nice feel to the place around here. I really love it. Like if I have time later on, I'm going to go into the city and just even take that walk down Shop Street again. Not from a touristy point of view or anything like that. Purely just to
reminisce.
Feel the nostalgia, because nostalgia's a brilliant emotion. It's a brilliant feeling. Like, I put it this way, the nostalgia we're going to feel in 5, 10, 15 years' time when we look back on what happened a couple of weeks ago is going to be unbelievable. It can be a dangerous emotion at times. You can get caught up in nostalgia a little bit too much. You can let it overweight things. But it's such a wonderful thing, and again, probably why I've got such a good time for here.
Yeah, nostalgia, now that you mention it, for some strange reason, I've mentioned this in recent podcasts, the last few months, and I think it was especially around bonfire night, because growing up, I was the bonfire king in our village. And we had a little bit of a bonfire, and I waited back, and I was just staring into the fire, and whatever reminiscing I was doing, I drifted back to when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, gathering all the stuff to burn in the fire, and reminiscing about olden times, and now I can't get it out of my head. Just literally all the events that happened after I was about 7 or 8 years of age, all the way up to the Galway years. and everything like that, I find myself drifting back, and there's a lovely feeling up in Galway. I always said that if I had money, I'd settle in back up in Galway, but we'll see how that goes. I'm a bit off that yet.
Don't coach on that.
Yeah.
No, certainly, but it is, I totally get where you're coming from too, because it's nice to look back. It's nice to look back on things and kind of you mightn't appreciate something at the time, and it's when you actually look back on it, you get that sort of deeper appreciation for things. Like at the time in Galway, people were saying, and you enjoy yourself, you're living the time of your life. It was like, it's great fun, yeah, and you're kind of, you're enjoying the bit of crack. And looking back on it now, as a man who's left there now for a number of years, I'm thinking, God, it really was. It really was special.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely was. Did you go from college straight into Midwest? It is Midwest that
it is,
you're completely based with.
Yeah. Midwest is base. I'm sports editor there now. I've been sports editor for a couple of months at this stage actually now.
Yeah.
But I'd done commentary work, and my former colleague Michael D. McAndrew got me in to do a few commentaries for them when I was still in college. I kind of made contact, this and that, and went to do a few commentaries and kept doing them through my final year in college. And within, I think, a day or two of finishing my degree in Galway, finishing up my last bits and pieces, because I'd actually planned to do some summer work out in Medtronic just to stay in the city and get it. But the call came from Midwest. I had a job opportunity there. I took it, and nearly 4.5 years later, we're still there, soldiering on, and enjoying the good days.
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually a mutual friend that said that. How do you think Michael D. McAndrew feels commentating for Mayo for so long? You walk in, you're on your first All-Ireland, and then it was your first All-Ireland, wasn't it?
The first All-Ireland senior final. I'd done a couple other ones for different things, club ones and hurling ones, and I'd done an All-Ireland minor one a couple of years ago too. But yeah, for a senior final, that was it. Like the last All-Ireland senior final that was in it, I was a punter, sat in the stand with a bit of a headache from the previous night's actions, but I was
absolutely.
Very different, and like there was a weird feeling going up Jones's Road that day. I kind of went up, brought in me equipment in good and early so that I can come back outside with whatever, my wristband and whatnot. So went outside, and I was there. God, I missed this bit of crack. The crack is really in it today. You'd just love to be a punter outside soaking it all up, but I'm blessed to be where I was all the same.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will definitely get into that fairly quick, and we've loads of questions as well. But for anyone that isn't from Mayo, just the whole thing about Mayo not winning the All-Ireland, being there so close, and how it affected actually as a county Mayo people. And we'll talk about the change even in the last couple of days since we won the All-Ireland. It was starting to become a bit of a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, it was weird, and like I said, I'm 27. I was born in 99, so I'd missed them first couple. 04 was a small bit of a blur. I can remember my father going off in 04. I can remember my father going off in 06, and me not being able to go and being devastated. But 12 and 13 is when I really got involved in it. But I think the difference with a lot of them older ones and the ones in the teens were, come 12 and 13, Mayo were one of the top teams. Previously Mayo might have been perceived to have been lucky to get to certain finals and this and that. Some might say they were lucky to get there this year, but in 12 and 13 we were good. Like in 2012, Mayo bet the All-Ireland champions Dublin in the semi-final, lost the final. In 2013, after Donegal bet us the year before, we clipped them in a quarter-final and lost out. So we were always thereabouts. But it just, I don't know, we got too used to it perhaps. Like I said that I grew up in those 2010s. Like September finals were still a thing. I think in 4 of the 6 years I was in secondary school, 4 of them Septembers we were gearing up for our Ireland finals.
That's right.
And the other 2 years we lost semi-final replays. So like your first week or two in school, it was all football. You were gearing up for it. Going to Dublin was basically it was basically a pilgrimage. You could do it with your eyes closed. We were going up that often, and when it didn't happen, it builds and builds and builds and builds. And to 21, losing to Tyrone after beating Dublin semi-final, one of the best days there was ever had in Dublin.
Right.
Mighty crack, like the balloon burst in a big way. Like I know people that swore off Mayo football that day, and said no, good luck.
Well, I'm since my grandfather brought me over to McHale Park before the stand went in, where the stand is now roughly, and it was just seats, concrete seats. Since that day, I followed Mayo football, and I was for the Dublin match. I was in Stockholm. I was in Stockholm for the semi-final. Went mad. We watched it in a pub called Vistrom's. I know it has a Swedish name, but it's probably I think it's the only actual real Irish owned bar in Sweden. And we were I couldn't wait to get back. Got me ticket. Delighted in the Hogan stand with Chris Gavigan actually. And I know this is going to sound crazy. I shouldn't admit this. I actually thought it was a case of just turning up. Because we had beaten Dublin, and I didn't think it was a great Tyrone team at the time. But from the first minute, even though we went 2 points up, I was like, "There's something not right here." The air was wrong from the get go, and we fought so hard to get any scores, and I just knew that we didn't have the rub of the green that day. It just never was going to happen. We missed a penalty as well.
We did. Yeah,
everything went wrong. Everything went wrong.
I'll switch it up completely. Last Sunday fortnight, I think from the word go, even though Kerry were 7 points up, the air felt so different.
I said that I've been saying it ever since. Even when we went 7 points down, I said the heads didn't drop. The air is different. There's a confidence out in that team. They're not panicking. And then when they started clawing it back and clicking off, it was never going to be any other result. And from the first minute I was there with my daughter, I couldn't believe it. But when the final whistle went, I was still like, is that it? Is that it? Like, no one's going to take this. Like, I was still waiting for something to happen that it was going to take away from us. But I never felt like we were going to lose that game.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. People went up there too. A lot of people went up with kind of quiet confidence. The term I kept saying to people, anyone that asked me about my opinion during that week was cautious optimism. Yes. But I did have that feeling in me that they were going to win. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had that feeling before, and I've left there with egg in my face. But there was something different to it, and I think Andy Moran played a blinder in the sense that he allowed people to enjoy it. Like the semi-final against Louth, we were probably outnumbered ourselves maybe by maybe 3-1, and then I think it was just a complete flip for the final. Simply because Andy Moran kind of said, "No, let's enjoy this," and it gave people the freedom to do it without repercussion. We'll say, it
was near genius for in terms of media control.
No, it really was. He played it so well. It was it'd be like a teacher saying, "You've got a free class here in school. Do whatever the hell you want and don't worry about any consequences." And you'd rub your hands, right? Let's go. Yeah. So, and they did, but they did it in a good way. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
People done it without completely taking the mick. They had the bit of crack. You had your few flags, you had your few banners, your different things, and everything in the build up to that final. It was just enjoyed it more and more. Seeing the sign down in Killarney of the bridesmaid and the bride thing too. Like it just them little things too. Like you can imagine the ammunition that fuels. I know players are off social media and that, but
the thing about that is, I know Chris. I know the man that done Brand Gigs. I know him. Remember? Have you seen the video that I done where I stole the cup?
Yes, yeah.
Right, and I call it, and I can't believe at the end of it, I'm like, I can't believe I have the Ardad chalice. I don't even know what I've stolen. That's the man that done that's the Kerry fella that actually done the poster. And
I'm sure he's staying below ground now.
He got an awful shit, even from Jack O'Connor, Pat Milan. And I was like, they shouldn't even be worried about that. But anyway, it was fuel for Andy. It was fuel for the lads. And obviously they used it in the best way possible. But the build-up was, as you said, cautious optimism. But do you know what it was? Before the game, I had the privilege of being in the Premier Hogan. So I wouldn't have been probably too far away from
You'd have been just underneath us.
Yeah,
just underneath us where you are.
Yeah, and pretty much centre field as well. So I had a brilliant view. And as you said, we outnumbered Kerry probably 3, if not 4-1, supporters-wise. But I just happened to be stuck in a pod of Kerry lads. And they were up there. They were up there like I was for the 2021 All-Ireland final.
Just sure.
Just sure. And they let me know from the very beginning. And I was like, and I said it in the podcast with the two lads. I said there was this fella, and he kept going. I was like, Kerry getting off a soft freeze, and of course I wasn't just saying it like that. I was shouting it. And your man was like, technically that was a foul, and I was like, technically I was really pent up. Technically my hole.
Yeah.
And clearly you never played the game, and I was like, that just really. And he kept telling me the lads are playing to the rules of the game. And next thing, when it started to twist,
those words
came back.
yeah.
I kept saying, "That's it, lads. Keep playing to the rules of the fucking game." And by the end of it, he had completely shut up.
Oh.
Anyways, that's twice now I've mentioned that in the podcast, so I don't hold any grudges.
No. I'm sure they don't either.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure they don't either. But it's good. But like that, you'll get people like that, and it's. I will say one thing about the Kerry folk: they were great sports.
They were.
They were great sports, and like always in the heat of a game,
and that's what I said to him even at half time. I said, this is all in the heat of the game. I said afterwards, I said, there's no animosity at all.
I remember my first All Ireland was 2012. I remember going up to it and been lucky to get to it, and I had a nice seat that day, sat in the stand, and there was this gentleman and his wife the other side of me from Donegal. We played Donegal that day, and anyways, before the game started, this fella asked me whatever, this and that. Very nice man to speak to, a young fella like me, and talking about how his brother was a member of the panel, was extended panel or sub. I can't remember who he was. I'm sorry now if he's listening, but then I remember during the game there might have been 15 minutes to go, and himself and the man in the row behind me got into the most blinding row ever.
Yes.
Now, bearing in mind I was only about 13.
Yes.
The expletives were off the chart, this and that, and geez, there was spitting fire, and the game was over anyways. And he came to me and he said, "I'm really sorry. I apologise. I shouldn't be using language like that at all in front of a young person." He said, "You get a bit heated in these sort of things," and he shook hands with the man behind him, the Mayo man behind him. Do you know,
that's the etiquette.
It happens.
That's
Exactly. That's and like. You see soccer and things like that, like segregation. Now, I suppose soccer hooligans, hooligans been the term. It's a bit different, but Gaelic football people, you will get thick in the game. You will get mad in the game, and like I suppose Midwest commentary, we can get biased at times too. So
yes,
it rolls in with it. But like after all, you kind of when it all simmers down at the end of the day,
absolutely,
you're pulling for your own people.
I think it was Alan. I'm pretty sure it was Alan Dillon that said, to quote Alan Dillon, "Once you cross the white line, all friendships, like to play on the pitch, all friendships are out the window. You're there to take your man down, and that's as simple as that. And all the sledging that goes on, that happens on the pitch. But as soon as you cross the white line back again, you have to forget about it."
Well, I put it this way: the club championships in Mayo started this weekend. Lads that won All Irelands together 2 weeks ago, they were knocking lumps out of each other.
Yes,
that's the way it goes. You represent your county, you do great. They had the best week of their lives, touring around with Sam Maguire.
Yes.
This weekend they were back playing for their clubs, and it was, you'd swear they didn't know each other. You just you go at it, and like that, once the game is over, forgotten about.
Yeah.
But it's great, and that's I won't even say it's the essence of sport. It's the essence of GAA.
Yeah.
Whether it be ladies football, men's, camogie, hurling, that's the essence, or handball. That's the essence of GAA and all the games that go with it.
Yeah. We'll just actually touch on handball at the minute, because our mutual friend Chris Gavigan is won in All Ireland over 35s about 2 weeks ago, and he really is passionate about it. Anyone that's in handball, because it is a GAA, it is one of the GAA sports.
Yeah. I'll put it this way: there's some of the nicest jerseys going as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I love seeing a few. When you see folks going to a not just a Mayo game, but the Mayo handball jerseys. They're kind of, it's almost like a bit of a diagonal set, a bit across. But when you see them, you're like, that man, that's a proper GAA man.
Yes, that is
he's
true.
Really into
it.
it. He's really into it.
Yeah. To go that little bit step further,
a bit more niche. People say the more niche your jersey is great, whether it's a Gen Fit 90 whatever, this and that.
Yes.
But I see a handball jersey, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool there.
Yeah, and for anyone that hasn't been up to the Croke Park handball facility, it is a fantastic facility, and it has a great little bar in the clubhouse. So it has. So now, I've given a little secret away that many GAA people involved in the handball think it's their little hidden gem. Before a football match, there's a little bar right beside Croke Park for a nice little quiet pint, and it's in the handball. And the thing is, I think they should be promoting that and getting more people back into it, because years ago, handball was a real cultural thing, especially, we'll say, in the rural parts of Ireland. There was a handball alley or building in nearly every village, never mind every town in in Ireland.
Yeah, there's lots of them. There's lots of them in various different spots, and in fairness, it is coming back a bit too.
Yes.
I know there's good clientele there in Newport that are going good with it. They've had a good bit of success in the last little while too. But like I said, they're all Gaelic games. They're all under the association name, and I know the GA, they'll always get, flack for different things like that. But the fact that they do have things like that, the fact that they do have handball, the fact that they do have rounders and different things like that, there's things there for everyone to do. People say, oh, well, you need to be this prime athlete, this absolute monster GA athlete. But you mentioned there with Chris and them, over 35s, you've got mixed rounders, you've got, ladies rounders, different things. These are, there's plenty bits out there. And I think, as you said, the more people get involved, the better it is. But like that, if a GA club I'm not going to pick one out of the top of my head, but if a GA club in Mayo or Galway or I don't know, Wicklow or Wexford, all it takes is someone to go to an AGM and say, hold on, can we look into perhaps putting handball in or putting rounders in or something like that too. These are little things that can be done on ground level, and if you get them up and going, then hold on, if the GA take notice and say, oh, there's actually 6 new handball clubs gone in Mayo, what's this about? Can we push things a little bit more?
Because the handball also is huge in America.
Yes, that's right. Actually, it's
absolutely
massive.
huge. And they have world finals, which quite often are held in America, and I think they were held in Limerick this year in Ireland. But it is a world sport, and it's loved in New York and loads of places. I know that Peter Cassidy was involved in the Worlds a few years ago in America as well, and his brother Ali, who'd be commentating on the handball, also, he was mad into the handball. So I promised Chris at the beginning of, or the end of last year, that I was going to promote handball as much as I could because he's that passionate about it. And here's my little bit, and I will continue to do it. And I had the pleasure before the Cork Mayo quarter final of going in and watching an All Ireland final. There was a Sligo lad from Ballymote there, and one of the lads that won it, I think he won it 12 or 13 or 14 times. I think he was Tipperary. I'm not quite sure about that. I've forgotten his name. I've forgotten 2 of the names. Well, that just shows you have to brush up on that. But
no harm.
Cormac was the Sligo lad's first name. I can't remember the second name. But anyway, regardless of that, it is a great sport. Very exciting if you can get a tight match. If you can get a tight match, and it's as you said as well, you don't have to be an Adonis of a man to play it either. As long as you have a base fitness, you can get around the court, and it's something that hopefully will keep getting bigger and bigger. And rounders as well. That there is 4 sports in GA. An awful lot of people don't know about rounders at all. Yeah, I didn't know about that. Although I've never actually heard of or seen a game being played, or bar in the cool camps.
There's some good. Couple of clubs in Mayo have really taken it on. Clomene have taken it on. I think they've a good mixed team there. Yeah. Brafey are doing powerful stuff. Brafey ladies team have won a couple of All Irelands too in the last number of years. So no, they have taken it on, and it's good to see. It's really good to see, because like that, I think we all remember probably being young, and you might have played rounders in school for PE or cool camp or something like that. And I tell you one thing, that gets competitive too. Does. Seriously competitive.
So for rounders, for anyone that doesn't know what rounders is, it's like a version of, or a baseball is like a version of rounders.
It's effectively, yeah. I don't think the ball is thrown at the same velocity as it would in baseball. Yeah. Effectively speaking, it's almost like it's lobbed more than anything. Yes. towards them rather than thrown at them.
Okay, yeah.
And you got to give it a welt, and you got to get round the course. It played to similar-ish rules. It wouldn't take too long to get your head around it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like to see that as well, because there are 4 actual sports: hurling, football, handball, and rounders in the GAA. But GAA sometimes gets a bit of a bashing, but apart from the actual organisation itself, it's the cultural thing that I love. Especially in rural, and I keep saying rural Ireland. It's in the cities as well. The only thing in Dublin, you're fighting against the likes. You're having a fight with the likes of soccer and the rugby, of course, as well. And you'll often hear that in Dublin or in any of the cities that they are only supporters if the team is doing well, whereas in, we'll say, county teams or in rural counties, that it is a religion nearly in itself. It was Martin Carney that quoted. Was it Martin Carney or you that quoted about Gary Moore? No church, no pub, no shop. but there's a GA pitch.
Yeah, I do, but it wasn't myself. I don't even know was it Martin or not, or was it one of the players? Someone did, but it's such a valid point. Like, you know, somewhere like that, a GA club is the hive of it's the hub of a community.
Yes.
It really is. You know, like not to localize it to my own place, but like in Ballycroy, like if you're a young man down there, like, you know, if you're not playing GA, there's not many more proper facets to go meeting people, you know, like to actually, you know, get on the ground and meet folk. To any young person that might have fell away, especially in rural areas, if you're a young person that might have fell away from GA or something like that, like I'd encourage you greatly to get back into it. Like, we'd one or two lads in the last maybe 4 or 5 years that mightn't have played football since they were maybe 17, 18, that came back into it, and they thought it was a brilliant thing because they've met lads. Do you know what I mean? There's something about a GA club. Like, whenever our season finishes, we might have a night out. We've done it the last couple of years. Like, there's not too many more situations. You're going to have a lad 18 or 19 going out having a few pints with the man 38 or 39. Do you know what I mean? And we might have a few older than that again.
Yes,
but
yes.
like, you're not going to have situations like that. And I think that's the beauty of GA. And the other side of it is you're representing where you're from.
Yes.
You know, it's not like soccer, or it's not like other things
That
where
is
you can go here and there willy nilly. Like, you know, GA is GA, and you know, home is home.
That's right. Like, even if you cannot swap counties unless there's certain rules. I think you have to be working there or living there for a certain length of time or something like that.
Yeah, look, at club transfers are there.
Club
and
transfers, yeah.
And there are circumstances and situations where they're fair enough.
Very,
like,
very few and far between. They're as rare as an honest politician.
well,
I have to get the dig in.
we won't go. We will. Well, I won't.
I know you won't.
I'm going to play it very neutral, very safe. I do have to read the news on Wednesday morning back in Ballyhollis. But anyways, but I know what you mean. Like, it doesn't happen too often. Like, a lot of time it's people maybe moving away. You're moving from west to Dublin or wherever you are. If you settle in a new place, like, it's tricky. On the flip side, and I will say, and I'll give my 50 cents in it, you know, at home we're a club that may not have always been flush with numbers, still aren't flush with numbers. There was times there in the last 10, 15 years we have had lads coming home from Dublin's, from Cork's, even from maybe, you know, London, these sort of places.
Yeah.
Them lads don't come home from Dublin, don't come home from Cork. We don't have a team. You don't have a team. You don't have a club. Do you know, like, so there's facets for that. I understand bigger clubs and different things, but, you know, for us, for lads doing them sort of things, it's that sort of stuff. It's unbelievable. Like, people, the commitment they put in. Like, and it's often when teams win senior championships and intermediate championships, say, you know, we've had lads travel and doing this and that. But when you travel just to keep your club afloat, keep your community still going on the map, like, that's serious dedication.
Absolutely, and that's the heart. That's the heart of what I see as the GA and what it brings to communities all around the country, whether it be in cities, towns, or in rural Ireland. And I will continue to love. That's just the beauty of it. It makes me. It's like like even the clip, and we'll get into the clip now that has gone viral. I watched it on the way up. I watched it on the way up yesterday, and the thing is, I've been really after the win. I've been so busy because the day after I had the kids. I didn't really get a time to celebrate. It was the lead into then the Galway races. Then my good friend Martin Maloney's father died, so I was at the first day and the second day. Then I had up to the Galway races for 2 days. Then I had the Sheamstead. Then I had it on my own show. So I haven't actually watched the game.
Not yet.
Well, not yet in full since that day, which I usually would, especially now that we've actually won it. And I watched the clip coming up yesterday, and it drew it. I'm going to make no bones about it. I was actually in tears watching it again. Just the passion of the clip itself. And I don't know if we can probably add this in, Ethan. If we can add the clip in, so it's about 45 seconds long into this, just to give people a fulcrum to where I'm working off here. But the passion that went into that clip. One of the things I was going to ask is, and this is notable in a lot of local radio stations, where years ago when they were commentating on matches, even if they were commentating from the county, their county was involved, they were very neutral. They'd have to keep it not emotionless, but they'd have to share fair points on both sides, or if their team was going ahead or if it was a close game, they'd usually keep it very neutral and just commentate in the game. But over the last few years, I've noticed that local radio stations have been biased, and they don't really care because you're representing your county. Was that a decision, or is it just the emotions took over? Were you ever told like to just go for it, just let your heart speak?
No, and I think that's one thing that I'm lucky for. There's no creative direction. I've never been given, okay, do this, and this.
Yes.
Go out. You're able to commentate. Go out there and do it. That's it.
Yes.
There's no, and that probably I say it probably helps. It does help. Like, because if you're sat there with, you need to do this, and this. The only thing I need to do is mention our sponsor, once in each half, and outside that, it's not too hard. And in fairness to Ronan, Moore and the boys, now I happily give them a plug because they're awful sound men.
Yes.
Ronan's brother Barry would have played with Mayo for a good while too down in Castlebar. But we just go out and do it. And maybe I grew up listening to it, but of course I'd have been listening to Michael Deedon for a long number of time.
Yeah.
There was a bit of bias there. The one thing I say to people, if you want good, neutral, concise analysis, tune in to RTE.
Yes.
Do you know, if you want to hear Mayo that's been slightly biased, we'll appreciate Mayo's scores more. You always try and call it down the middle in the sense of the decisions that are made and different things like that.
Yes.
But the actual scores and whatnot, I'm going to have a lot more passion for Dara Byrne's goal than I am for David Clifford's goal.
Yes.
But by the flip of it, I'm sure the boys in Radio Kerry are the exact same. Do you know?
They were biased from the first minute, but they went through I was talking to an uncle of mine yesterday, and he was listening to it after the fact. He said they went through the Kerry team sheet, and they mentioned everything, their relations, what they do, everything like that. Towards the end of wrapping up before the game started, and Mayo were there too. Like, that was basically it. Whereas that's what you have to, and I'm sure you appreciate a good sporting moment, even if it was in a Kerry jersey.
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
Like, you have to, and it's happened, and we've had it happen against us before too. And that's part of it. A bit like the supporters. There's people on about the clips that have gone viral. There's another great clip, and the boys are mighty. The two lads from Radio Kerry, Tim and Ambrose. Like, as soon as the final whistle went down, after myself and Martin calmed down. I don't think we did calm down, but in fairness, the two lads were actually directly in front of us. Normally they kind of might be to our right or to our left or whatever, but we were the second seat back. And the Radio Kerry lads they just turned around, the two of them shook our hands like that, and that was it. Like, that's a great sign of respect. Like, Dave came and watched Kerry win All Ireland's. Ambrose, who was their co-commentator, Martin Carney, effectively, he was captain of Kerry when they won it in '84. Like, and like, they've seen it and done it all. Like, I'm sure they appreciated it the same way we did. But a bit of class goes a long way too. But like that, I'm sure during the 70 minutes of commentary, a bit like our 70 minutes of commentary, you're still pulling for your own team.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the heart will always, in my circumstance anyway, the heart will always overrule the head and the mouth. It just literally just bursts out, especially when it comes to Mayo football or stuff like that, stuff of the heart. But while you're on about class, before I get into the clip and the questions, Kobe MacDonald, we'll touch on him a little bit. I headed off to Australia. He had a touch of class this year.
He did.
Yeah, he really did.
He's exceptional.
Yeah.
He really is exceptional. I'd heard about him a few years ago. You'd hear this lad is coming. He was minor with Mayo in 2024, and actually before the All Ireland, I had a lovely chat outside with another Swinford man, David Heaney. David Heaney was a former Mayo captain, captain Mayo in 06 in that final.
Yeah.
He managed the Mayo minors in 24, so he had Kobe as a minor, and you just kind of knew off it. Like, that was the last year of the old rules, and they lost an All Ireland semi-final to Armagh, and Armagh were very defensive in midlife, very difficult with 15 behind the ball, no 2-pointers, this and that.
No.
And I just said it to Dave, I said, how much do you wish these rules were in it there 2 years ago? He said, you've no idea.
Yeah.
Basically, like you said, if they were there, they might have had success then, but there was something sweet about it this year. But like, Kobe is a wonderful footballer. He's a wonderful footballer, but I don't know the lad personally. I didn't interview him. I hadn't the opportunity to interview him. I didn't push and look to interview him. But just going by what Andy and his crew have said, by what the other players have said, he just seems like just a lovely young fella, and I think that goes a long way. You make the point. You want good footballers, but you want good people involved as well.
Yes.
And he came across as that. And look at on the field, we all know what he can do. We all hope we get the chance to see him do it again in the Mayo jersey.
Absolutely, wouldn't that be unbelievable? I'm sure in a few years' time, because he's still only 18.
Forget that.
Yeah. Absolutely. He's still only 18. But even without the scores, the skill that he uses during the game, it's just the little touches. There's just a little bit of class. And I know Dara Byrne is there, and he's an exceptional player as well, and really look forward to him in the future too. And he's a workhorse as well as Ryan O'Donoghue. But one of the little dinks that he done against Cork, and I don't think it was highlighted enough. I'm sure you remembered it if you spotted it, where he tapped it over your man's head and he just caught him on the wrong foot, tapped it over his head and let it bounce and caught it again on the other side. Or did he even let it bounce?
Yeah, no, he did. He has to. That's the rule.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
The rule is you have to. And like you said, the Cork for that. That was Stephen Sherlock, Cork's best player.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like him doing it to David Clifford. Do you know what I mean? When you do something like that to the other team's talisman, like that's. It's not, and it's not done in a cockiness sense.
No. It was pure skill.
Yeah, and it was him saying, "Okay, well, there's no player right in front of me. This is what I have to do here." Do you know?
Yeah.
And he done it. The best thing I could probably say about him as a footballer is that similar to David Clifford, he's the type of player when he gets the ball, you sit up straight.
Yeah.
You actually you're focusing. Everyone will get the ball and you'll be fine, but like when he gets the ball, you just lean forward.
What's he going to do?
Yeah, and like this, I genuinely put him in the same bracket as David Clifford in that regard. I'm not saying he's a better footballer than David Clifford. Personally, I don't think we'll ever see another one as good as David Clifford. But they're two different types of footballers.
Yes.
But like that, McDonald is someone that when he gets the ball, you do sit forward and look at. Hopefully, we see him in a Mayo jersey again going down the line. As someone said. As someone said to me, he's 18. You know, if he does 5 years in Australia, I think, God, 5 years is a long time. He comes back to Mayo age 23, having had 5 years of physical conditioning.
Absolutely, he'll come back a lot more bulked.
If he doesn't play another game for Mayo, hasn't he already done his bit?
Absolutely.
Though?
Can you imagine being able to say that on your debut year that you won the All Ireland with Mayo when it wasn't done for 75 years, and then you headed off to Australia?
That's it.
And he got a great reception in Australia. Like an exceptional reception.
Yeah.
From all the clips, the social media clips that I've seen, they're looking forward to having him down as well. And of course, there's so many Irish down there as well, so it'll be like a home from home for him. And we'll touch briefly on the new rules. If Chris was here now, we'd be on about traditional GAA rules and everything like that. I'm a massive traditionalist. I hated the rule changes over the last few years. I even hated the back door.
Yeah.
So I did.
Old school knockout.
I wanted to bring it back to 1998.
Yes.
You know, okay, when the rules were changed, and I think Galway were the first team to win when the rules changed, and they were the first ones to take advantage of. Even though I think they actually went through, I don't think they were beaten that year.
So 98 was still old school. John O'Mahony, Mayo been to 2 All Irelands, lost them. Galway won Connacht and went on to win the All Ireland.
That's right.
2001 was when the back door came in. So prior to that,
was it?
yeah. So so from 2000 previously it was all knockout. 2001 Galway lost in the Connacht Championship and went on to win the All Ireland. So
That's
Galway
right.
became the first
2001.
team. Galway became the first team to win an All Ireland, having lost 1 game.
Yes.
But this year, Mayo made their own bit of history.
Right.
The first team to win All Ireland after losing 2 games.
2 games.
So look, it's funny the way things work around. And to hell or to Connacht, because there hadn't been an All Ireland winner from Connacht since then.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, we lost to Roscommon, but I said that was just a training match. It was just a little bit of shooting practice.
It's interesting too the way it's gone out. That was a tough day at the office for a lot.
Yes, it was.
I'd say Andy more than anyone, but you know something, I'd say now the smile still hasn't been wiped off his face. Like it's to actually come back from that and get going. It's incredible. Timing is everything in this new game. Knockout football is knockout football. Back in the day, you just had to win. You just had to win. Whereas now it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yes, absolutely. And Donegal probably were the victims of that this year. They seem to be coming right at the wrong time.
It's like the man that takes off at the start of the 1500 meters or 5000 meters and is the pace setter. You're going so well, you just feel like you're going to get crept up on, and look at it happened.
That's
and
what happened,
the bubble burst for them a bit earlier than they would have hoped this year. And the same can be said for a lot of teams, But look at for once, Mayo were the team that timed it perfectly. Yeah,
even the game was timed right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything went right. So we're counting down to the last few minutes. We'll get right into the viral clip. We're counting down the last couple of minutes. We're getting down to the last couple of seconds. You see, the one thing about the new rule is you can pretty much you can pretty much tell, unless the opposition has the team, you can dictate the last minute, or at least for spectators, we can tell how the game is going to go with a minute to go. Now we went from nearly conceding a 2-pointer to having possession and bringing it up the field. Once we crossed the halfway line, there was no way it was coming back.
We kind of knew, didn't we?
We kind of knew. Yeah. So it was a build up. It was a build up of emotion for the last 45 seconds, especially when we had the ball, especially when it went into Conroy, and then he could have went for goal. It didn't matter at that stage. The time was up. I'm sure he didn't know that.
Yeah.
But tell us what your emotions at the time. What was running through your head, and Martin Carney's?
I haven't a clue.
Okay.
I haven't a clue. It was just pure panic, pure elation. One of the boys at home said to me, he said, when Mayo got the ball down to their own square, he kept repeating it to me the last night of training. He just said, all I can hear you saying is, get it out of there, get it out of there, get it out of there. Because that's what I said. And
that's the bias coming through.
Oh,
that's
totally.
The hard
that's pure and unadulterated bias, and absolutely delighted that it's that way.
Yes.
And like that, once the ball hit midfield, David McBride got the ball in midfield, and all I could hear in my ears, I'm trying to call it, and all I can hear is Martin shouting, we have it, we have it. And when I hear that in my ears, I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, this just try and keep some sort of measure and control on it. Like, I didn't listen back to it rightly. This clip was sent to me a good few times. I got to listen to it again, but like I was kind of half concerned until I listened back to that little end. But I said, did I make any sort of sense? And there was a little bit of sense in there too. There's a bit of shouting, a bit of roaring, but in the best possible way. But once that ball hit midfield, and once Martin said them words, we have it, and that's just. I won't say the weight of a generation, the weight of 75 years is lifted off, and the right people, we had the right people in the right places late on then. O'Donoghue was there, Kobe was there, and in fairness to Conroy, it was great that he had it. Like, we could have held that ball around the middle. Yeah. Conroy going in and getting a score, it added to it
Cherry
more.
On top.
And even at the very end, like Kerry tried to bring the ball up, and I'm not lying, the last act of that game is a Kerry man with the ball and 2 Mayo men in on top.
That's right.
And it just showed it just showed the way they were going. They weren't stopping, even though the clock said maybe 2 seconds, whatever it was. They were still going for the kill. Right. And it was pure.
They were taking no chances this time.
No, it was pure elation. It was absolute elation, and it was magnificent. It was magnificent, and just very, very grateful and lucky to have been in that position to call it, or try and call it, if you want to call it that. But
because when your emotions are like that, it's the words that come out of your mouth that you don't know what you're going to say. Yeah, but it did, and the clip itself went around the world. It was added to other clips of one of the Mayo fans falling back and like nearly collapsing with pure elation as well, and it just kept going round and around. And it to this day, how many days on, it is just the whole emotion that it brings up for Mayo people, and not just Mayo people. It was a sporting history in moment of the GAA for 75 years, and a lot of people are saying it was one of the best All-Irelands, if not the best All-Ireland that ever was. Well, we're going to claim that anyway.
We're going to be biased.
Yes.
We're definitely going to be biased. But like I've seen people make their claims online and state them online, and the only thing they can compare it to was Seamus Darby in '82 for stopping Kerry. So
that's right.
Is there something about stopping Kerry, or I don't know? I don't think to be honest, I'm not going to discredit the Mayo team. That wasn't about stopping Kerry. That was about making history for Mayo.
Yeah, absolutely, it was.
It really was, and it's I said to play a part in it at all. Like, it's not I say part in it. I didn't play a part in it.
Yes, well, you did, because even one of the questions that we're going to get into now is, and we might as well. One of the questions.
Dig the book out.
One of the questions is, how does it feel to be the voice of sporting history?
I'm I'm Irish. I can't take praise.
Yes, that is true.
I can't take praise. I'm just lucky, just very lucky to have been in that position. Very, very lucky to have had that opportunity to call it like that. Like, you dream of being in positions. You dream of days like this. You dream of Mayo winning All Ireland, full stop. You dream of commentating on one. You never think it's going to happen until Martin Carney says we have it. Like, you don't fully realise. And I don't think I'll fully appreciate it yet, and it's like Anthony. It'll be down the line that it'll really sink in just how memorable that day was. But I that's the word I'd use for myself. I'm just very, very lucky, very lucky.
You're right, because in 20 years' time, you look back and you're going to listen to yourself commentating on it, because this clip will be played for many, many years to come, and I'm sure it will be with great satisfaction. You listen back in so many years time, because it was an unbelievable clip, pure emotion, pure raw emotion, and it coincided with Mayo breaking the 75-year curse. If you want it, did you ever believe in the curse?
I don't think so.
No.
Because I put it this way, I never went up to Croke Park for a final or a semi-final or a quarter-final at any time as a supporter. I never went up there thinking, this bloody curse now, what's the point?
Okay.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. Now, obviously, when you lose to Tyrone, you're thinking, oh my God, is this actually...
Yeah,
but like,
I definitely did that day.
The reality is the curse is proven true. It was proven true.
That's true.
In the simple, well, like it can't be disproven at this stage.
Yeah.
It can't be disproven because what happened. Mayo had to wait until they all passed away, and it's a shame that it was that case. It would have been lovely if that was Demon was right before, but it's the way it went. Did I believe in it personally? No. Do I think any player that ever stepped foot in the pitch for Mayo for a final did? No. But look at history, and things are funny the way they play out, aren't they?
Sorry, hindsight is 2020. Apart from, we'll get into the questions. Apart from GAA and Gaelic football, what's your favourite sport?
Darts.
Oh, darts.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I absolutely love darts. Outside them, it'd be a close toss up there too. I'm a big Arsenal fan as well. Love my soccer, but darts is really cool. Like a dream job for me now is off there at the PDC on the tour, commentating away good. That's it for me. There'd be perfect. Now, I just enjoy it. But my grandfather next door when I'd be up there talking about stuff. Darts was the one thing that I'd always, and he liked darts. That's where I got my love for darts. I play a little bit myself, but absolutely massive darts fan. Yeah,
my uncle Jack would be mad into darts, or he'd definitely follow it. And I know that his son Sean, my first cousin, who actually had a couple of games with Mayo years ago before he went to Australia, and they love darts, like all the different types of darts. Who would be your favourite player?
Back in the day, probably Barney, Raymond Barney, but would have been back in the day. Now he's still on the go now.
Yeah.
But right now, William O'Connor, the Magpie, the Irish man in there, the Limerick man, and he made his debut there at the match play a few weeks ago. He's moving well. He's probably playing the best he has, and you're always going to pull for your own. There's a few Irish boys in there too. Like I shouldn't discount any of them that are in there, but William O'Connor. He had an exhibition actually down last back end in Westport, and I had the pleasure of playing him there. But I had a nice chat with him after, and he's a down to earth sort of fella, nice sort of fella too. In fairness to him, has
he the potential to mix it with the best?
Oh, absolutely. But he is mixing it with the best on the tour all the time. He's been getting to finals and whatnot on the floor, as I say, it'd be not the big TV stages, but he's well able. Yeah, I recall him a few years ago against Gerwin Price in the World Championships. Probably should and could have beaten him. Just maybe a tad unfortunate that he didn't in the end. But absolutely, he's right up there. Well able. He's a star, and he will be a big star going forward. I feel he's just coming into his prime now. So no, I'd rate him highly.
What age would he be?
I think he's 40-ish, give or take, give or take a year or two.
What would be the prime ages for?
Well, look, darts is funny. Darts is very funny. I mean, you've got Luke Littler, who's shooting the lights out since he was 16, 17, 18. Michael Van Gerwen hit his peak in his late 20s, done really good stuff. Then you have Phil Taylor, who was good from his maybe late 20s to, I would say, his early. He was still good when he retired at 55.
Yeah.
You have the likes of Gary Anderson, who's about 55 or 6 now, still playing the darts of his life. Peter Wright played darts for 20 years, didn't get up to much, and as soon as he was at 48, 49, just like the light switch went off, he was exceptional, won a couple of world championships. So I wouldn't say there's a peak time. Every player is different. When you're young, you might be a bit wired. You might be, just not settled in, or you might be young and you might have that fearlessness about you.
Yeah.
It depends on
every individual is different.
Yeah, and I do think O'Connor is on a gradual incline.
Okay.
I think I keep your eyes on him for the remainder of the year.
There's a lady as well that's mixing it up with
Bo Greaves. Bo Greaves at the minute is she's really doing the business. She won one of these floor events this year, one of these tour events, like first woman to ever do it.
Yes.
Which is exceptional. I know Fallon Sherrock was there too, and she won a couple of games of the Worlds. But Bo Greaves, she's young as well. She'd be in her early 20s. I'd say she's maybe no more than trying to get me ages right, no more than 22 or 3.
Okay.
She's Sherrick good, but Greaves is frightening. Like they've women's tour events that's just exclusively for women, and my goodness me, she holds every record going in terms of wins and everything. She's someone that will mix it up with the men properly, really high level.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely, it's great because it's not a sport that is you don't have, if you're being physical makes no difference. It's quite truly is a game of skill skill in the sense of what your arm can do, but also skill in the sense of the mind, because you need to be razor sharp up there in terms of your counting and things like that as well. And
and your eyes.
Yeah,
you need accuracy,
a bit of eyesight too. But I always say it too, and it's actually, I think it's a great thing for young people. I know GA is a thing that I'd always encourage young people to do, but let them play darts. I think schools should have darts clubs, because the simple reason your mental arithmetic. Mental arithmetic. It's a small thing, but it's so smart. Like, if
very
I put it
clever,
this way, I know what 517s are because I play darts. I don't know what off the top of my head for the crack. Like, so there are little benefits to it.
Oh, absolutely. When you're on about mathematics, now I played darts, but not. Some days I was there. I was like, I'd be exceptional. Another day I go in and I couldn't hit the 20 if my life depended on it. I think I only ever hit 180 in all the times that I've played. But when it comes to maths, you have to get very quick. You have to get very quick at multiplying by 2 or 3, and then trying to work out the quickest way down, down to naught, if that makes sense. And you have to do it, which is the easiest. Like, some people get used to hitting 20, some people are good at hitting the triple 19. Everyone has their own little preferences of their checkouts and everything like that. So mathematically, it is a great sport for the mind. And plus as well, you have to be good enough to know that if you're in the pub or anything, you have to that your opponent isn't taking the piss and making it easy for himself, or just maybe taking down a couple of or adding on a couple of scores to his tally as well. So you have to be cute on both sides. So darts, I wouldn't have thought darts, but yeah, that's a very interesting, different one to GA. Did you ever play sports?
Yeah, still do. Talked about yesterday for Ballycroy.
Right?
Oh, absolutely. Now it's not the most straightforward thing in the world when you're
in football.
Yeah. Locally Gaelic, it's not. I said it's not the most straightforward thing in the world when you're still trying to run the the sports department in Midwest. Like, it's a serious balancing act these days, but the body's still relatively able for it. I managed. I managed a half yesterday, so it wasn't too bad now, in fairness. But it was it's good, and it's nice to still be involved. It's nice to still be able to play. But yeah, Gaelic football was always my thing, anyways. So
win. Did you win?
We came second. No, we lost by a point, actually. So it's even more sickening.
Which would you prefer, to get beaten hockeyed or to lose just by a point? It's a tough one.
No, I'd rather lose by a point. To be honest, I would. At least you can say you gave a good account of yourself. Getting bet out the gate. There's not much fun in that. It's
yes,
just,
that is true.
Yeah, I know.
And for the sport itself.
And I know. Look, I know people can say, "Oh, well, I'd rather lose by 20 points." No, you wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
If you're out in the field, and there's lads running, and I've been that soldier too. If there's lads running absolute rings around your whole team, and you're like, "Will you just blow the whistle? Like, just end this, put it out of our misery."
It's not good for anyone.
No, it's not really. So, like when Dublin were going so well, that was
absolutely.
Let's split Dublin in two. What'll we do? This and that, But eventually,
I never agreed with that splitting any team. At the end of the day, everyone gets their turn. They just happen to get their turn for a couple of years.
They made the most of it.
And at the end of the day, it's just 15 against 15, no matter what way you make it up. 5 fives is 30, no matter what way you make it up. A very intelligent man once said in Swinford.
No. I wonder what maths class that was in.
Yes, you'd be no good at darts. Have you? What's your favourite GAA memory? So that's just a question. I'm presuming that's without the final seconds of the All Ireland. Have you a memory growing up or anything like that?
We'll take that out. There's a few. That win against Dublin in 21 was class.
Yeah.
That was class. That was a day like never before.
Yes, the comeback is because we came back, especially.
That was. I would say before we bet Kerry, probably our biggest win since then getting to the final. But it wasn't the magnitude getting to the final. It was beating the Dubs. It was very
the rat.
Yeah, exactly. It was. They hadn't lost a game since 2014.
Yeah,
they were going for 7 in a row, like mental stuff never seen before. probably won't be seen again.
Yes.
But like that was a great day. I was old enough to enjoy the crack that day too. I remember there was still restrictions of sorts around the place. So that night, me and a few from Ballycroy actually, we sat outside under an umbrella in Dublin in the piss and rain.
Yes.
And still didn't bother us as we were drinking our few pints. Like, it was lovely. Another one though that I will say actually, and it's one that I enjoy as well. Connacht's final, Mayo played Galway in 2009. It was probably known mostly for people for the Conor Mortimer's Michael Jackson, rest in peace, when he lifted up the jersey. But I remember being young. I remember it was just before my 10th birthday, and my aunt brought me to it, and I was the far side in Pierce Stadium, sat right up on the railing, like, couldn't have had a better spot. And Galway, we were winning. Mortimer put us well up, 6 points up, at about 10 minutes to go, and Galway came back, and Michael Meehan got a late goal and looked as though it was going for a replay, and Galway had gotten us
I was there.
Yeah, Galway got us out of jail, and like that, the last kick of the game, Mayo took a quick free, and Peadar Gardner nails a point into the bottom end, and we win it by a point, and it was absolutely brilliant.
An unbelievable
Core memory for me growing up. Really, really, really special, something like that.
Yeah. And there was a packed house for that as well. And I remember, because we were so far ahead, and we had control of the game for the entire game.
Yeah.
And suddenly then we were level. And I remember we were stunned. We were like, what is just after happening? And when we scored the point, I'll never forget, someone ran down, and there was a shocking place to put bins, but the wheelie bins, and they just started lifting them up and banging them up and down, up and down. But they were doing it with such velocity and veracity that it was just, that's the only thing you could hear. It was crazy. That was a brilliant day as well. I'll always say that the memory that I have two memories in GAA. One is the time my grandfather brought me over to, and I don't even think it was a senior match. I think it might have been an under-21 match, to watch Mayo play. And something in my head says that the player was Moffat, and he took a free, and now he had the wind behind him. He took a free from the ground, and I think it was before you could take a free from the hand.
Yeah.
And it went from literally the halfway line, and it went over the bar.
Jeez.
And that was just being there with my grandfather is the memory.
Yeah, I know
is the memory that I remember. And then there was a time we came back against, I think it was Dublin again, when Kieran MacDonald put the ball over.
Yeah.
So the memory is, I wasn't actually up for that one, but I'd fallen out with my father over something or other. I probably went out and made a holy show of myself. But on the Sunday, I knew he was pissed off with me, like really pissed off with me. And we were in the pub, and he hadn't spoke to me in the pub and everything like that. And when we started to come back, and when we actually equalised, I remember I jumped up and he caught me, and everything was forgotten. But
yeah,
so
it's amazing what sport can do.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it really is.
And I don't think I've ever mentioned that in a podcast. So
there you go.
It was an unbelievable memory, and I knew then that I got away with everything that I'd done.
Well played.
Any ambitions to work with RTE?
Look at you always, you're young. You want to try and get up to the highest level you can be. Having said that, I could get a job in RTE in the morning. I could work there for the next 40 years, and I'll probably never experience a day like I did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
Like really.
Well, I'm gonna add that bit. So this is maybe someone that's maybe older Irish, not just RTE, but like Sky and any of them.
I tell you, like,
you're content where you are at the minute?
I'm very grateful for everything that Midwest have done for me.
Yeah.
Without Midwest, as Stephen Grealis doesn't have the same rapport that he probably has in the last couple of weeks. Like, look at it, you take what comes your way. But I'm only a couple of months into this sports editor role. I did not think in May. I took this job on in May, 2 weeks after we lost to the Rossies. Did I think we'd have the summer we had? No. Not in the absolute slightest. I was thinking, right, how are we going to fill up a couple of weeks here before the club championship starts? And all of a sudden, we didn't need to, because everything just rolled in on top of each other.
I'd say you were trying to get rid of some of the stuff that you could have put up.
Honest God, but look at it's been good. It's been good fun. I've really enjoyed it, and I'll continue to enjoy it for as long as I'm there. As for aspirations, look at you're always ambitious, but I'm really happy with the work that we've put out this year. It's been wonderful.
Have you any sporting idols that you look up to? But whether I'm going to say that's very broad. So, sporting idols in sport and maybe in commentary.
Sport. Well, I suppose Andy Moore has to be there now, doesn't he? He is the top of everyone's list. He is the top of everyone's list. He's revered in Mayo forevermore. No matter what happens now, he'll get his statue in Ballahadreen when the time comes and proper order.
They may even give Ballahadreen back to Mayo.
That's a whole podcast in itself. But anyways, I'm like that. I'm a big Arsenal fan too. I like my soccer. So Arsene Wenger for me was always someone that I looked at as someone as real sort of model professional. The professor as he was known originally too. He'd have always been up there. And like that, you're looking at footballers as well. There's certain players, Gaelic footballers, that have always been good. Like Gooch, when I was growing up, was the man. He was this footballer, and the red hair as well. Obviously, he was there was kind of something about that. So he was very, very cool. In terms of a commentary, it's difficult. It's funny. I said it too. I grew up in the noughties as a youngster, and I remember having a DVD at home, and it was every All Ireland final, hurling football, between 01 and 05, the highlights of it. So there was 10 finals. So I could tell you a lot between all those finals, either of them. But Martin Carney and Ger Canning done a couple of them for RTE, so they're the voices I grew up with, and they're the voices you hear. And Ger Canning was doing the Camogie yesterday again. That voice is still so revered, and longevity is something that's incredible. George Hamilton as well. I think George Hamilton is such an interesting man. I read his book. I read his first book actually, and about 18 months ago he was down in Castlebar. Launching a second book, like the Hamilton, his notes, more than anything, and he's just such a fascinating man. So everyone knows his call, a nation hold its breath. It's iconic, but he's just good. He's just a good commentator. Full stop. He really is. And I got the chance. I was the pleasure of speaking with him that night, and he was wonderful. He really was wonderful, and just a nice down to earth man. That actually understands the sport, but it takes time to speak to a young person that comes up to him,
and he's the voice of a generation too.
Absolutely, and they're but he takes that he takes that at his ease. Well, he seems to, anyways. He's a very nice man. I like that. There doesn't seem to be any ego there whatsoever. And I'm lucky.
What county is he from?
He's Belfast.
Oh, he's Belfast.
Yeah, he's a native of Belfast. A native of Belfast. Because you'd wonder with the accent, but it's only when you probably listen. When you listen to it and you hear it, you probably realise that a little bit more. It isn't hard in Belfast, but like that, and I only know that really from reading his book. But that's him. Himself and Jim Beglin, another commentary duo. Duos were kind of a big thing back in the day as well. And look at this, there's all sorts. Even I said I love my darts. Sid Waddell was the darts commentator. The World Championship trophies named after him. He was iconic. He was proper in with his phrases and all this and that, real old school, but very good in another way. There's so many commentators out there and different people to look up to. RT themselves have got some really good folk. I'd have often listened to the likes of Porrick Lodge, who'd be probably one of their main radio commentators, and he had a quiet word with me in Croke Park about 45 minutes before the final. I was sat down sheepishly eating my little bit of food beforehand, and maybe my young buck sat down at a table on his own, looking like he was about to break in half with nerves and whatnot. He come over and just said, enjoy it and really take in the parade in every moment, and puts you at ease. Didn't have to come over and say it to me, but just did. And Adrian Eames is another man that's very, very nice. Adrian does an awful lot of stuff RT soccer wise and different things in Gaelic too, but I don't know how every weekend this year I seem to get deployed, and Adrian seemed to get deployed to every Mayo game, so I had the chance to speak to him a lot. And another nice fellow, and
it's great to build up a rapport with
they're
the
nice,
same fella.
nice people, just nice people, and a friendly face at a commentary at a game is so important
in anything.
Absolutely. And ironically enough, Adrian Eames was the first ever voice on Midwest back in 1989. He hosted the very first breakfast show on the very first day back in July 89. So
fantastic.
It's full circle man to go meeting there too. But look at this, there's loads. And then your own place, like the likes of Jerry Glennon and Midwest Radio, the likes of Michael D, who was in there before me, these people that the voices you grow up listening to, they're top level guys. And to know them on a personal level and to call them friends now are just incredible.
It's nearly like what the saying goes: if you love what you do, you never have to work a day in your life. Yeah.
It feels like that at times.
You mentioned the Gooch there, which I brought a little ditty back to me. There was this Kerry lad that I know got a picture with him, and he sent it straight away. They were in the pub, and they sent a picture to them, and I opened it straight away. Usually it takes me ages to open messages, but I opened it straight away, and it was in real time. And he says, "Look who I'm with," and I said, "Is that the lad that's the second best, highest scoring GAA footballer next to Cillian O'Connor?" I didn't say it was Conor Cooper, the Gooch, and nothing. So and he just wrote back, "You're a bollocks."
You had your facts off and ready for him.
I did.
I think he's gone down to third now. Actually, Clifford's overtaken him
Oh,
too.
right.
So yeah,
Okay.
well down the pecking order, poor Gooch.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he worries about that too much when he takes one look at his mantelpiece.
That is true. That is true. How does Stephen feel about the Rossies? Is he as passionate as you about their chances for 2027?
I am. Like Midwest is Ballyhonus, we're 5 minutes from, well, not even 5, we're probably about 3 minutes from the Roscommon border. So you're right there. We've got a few in the office. I know a few from college, a few mates from there. And, in fairness, a couple of them did message and say, "Well done, Mayo."
Yes.
A few of them in the office, despite being, they might have, we'd always have crack, and
Yes.
I do enjoy it. And whether it's ladies, men's, under minors, 20s, if Mayo play Roscommon, it's, no matter what happens, whoever wins, the other I'll go upstairs to the ones upstairs and let them know, or vice versa, and it's good fun. And I really enjoy the banter. I really enjoy the banter, the rapport I have with the Roscommon folk. They're
And that's what it all is.
Absolutely.
It's pure banter. And the thing is, I met the Roscommon lad that cycled from Roscommon to Sydney, and I had him in the studio.
Yes.
And I met him in Strandhill the other day, and he said, you'll have to be shouting for Roscommon next year. He said, "I think we're going to do well." I said, "If you do," I said, "I'd be nearly as happy as if Mayo won it."
But not less.
As much as of a piss take as I take out of them, at the end of the day, we are neighbours and we're all in Connacht, and I'm a traditionalist. So if Mayo aren't in it, it's the next Connacht team. That's just the old style GAA traditional way. But how, as a professional viewpoint, how do you think they've done well this year, apart from failing at the quarter-final stage?
Yeah, I think they'll take learnings. I think the more than the thing, I think they'll take big learnings from this year. They won the Connacht title. They were fantastic. They done really well. I think they've got a really good manager in there now. I think they're right up there. They've won a couple of Connacht titles at minor level recently. They won the under-20 this year. They've done the clean sweep in Connacht. I think they're right up to it, and they've given players a chance. Mark Dowd has gone in there and he's given players a chance. He's allowed them to kind of express themselves a bit more. I talked about sprinting and this and that. Donegal and probably had that sprint early on. Roscommon probably had their sprint then a little bit. But having said that too, they're good footballers. I know they've got some more coming down the pipeline too. Roscommon will be there. Their time will come. Whether it's next year, it could well be. I mean, 12 months ago, if you had said Mayo win the All Ireland next year, you'd have been laughed out the room.
That's right.
I think Roscommon are a lot further. When I say a lot further on the line, Roscommon's 2026 is a lot better than Mayo's 2025. I'll put it that way. So
that is correct.
If we're sat here in a year's time saying Roscommon are All Ireland champions, my jaw wouldn't be on the floor. It would be a bit of a surprise, but they are coming and coming and coming. And I think once they get back to Croke Park, and if they get that win in Croke Park, that's probably the championship win in Croke Park. It's probably the monkey that's on their back. Once they get that, I think the world could be their oyster.
Yeah, into a semi-final is where they need to get to.
Yeah, you think so? Like that's the barrier they probably need to break into.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're dead right there. What if? Well, I'm going to say, if any, what is your pet peeve when commentating? Have you any pet peeves?
Not overly. I do get kind of tunnel vision when it's on, in the sense that I kind of keep sort of focused on it. I wouldn't say pet peeves are there per se. I do find it tricky. And it's happened a couple of times that it's awful if a player gets injured and you think, okay, this is a bit of a serious injury. You're going to have to wait and kill time. That's when your mantle is really tested. If you're there, like when the game starts, it's very
filling in air.
If you have to fill in 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of air, like that's that's where it gets a little bit tricky. But look, that's where you kind of have to be prepared for. That's where you kind of have to have a few maybe little
arrows in the bow.
little nuggets of information. And like sometimes you might have someone like Martin Carney beside you that's well able to fill in these gaps. That's so used to things. And then on the other side of things, you might have someone that mightn't necessarily have done as many commentaries as Martin. I don't think there's anyone probably out there that's done as many as Martin at this stage in terms of analysts for us. But that mightn't be as ready for it, mightn't be as prepared for something like that. So you just kind of have to go with the two. But look at, as far as pet peeves, so I don't think there's too many, because at the end of the day, you're working with someone, you're kind of bouncing off each other well. So yeah, I wouldn't say pet peeves are a big thing now.
Yeah, Martin used to teach in Swinford.
Yeah.
So I don't think he actually taught me. I think he taught me in a few classes where he was filling in maybe for other people, but I don't think I actually had him as a full-time teacher. But he was passionate about the GAA. The trick with Martin was, if you get him talking at the beginning of the class about a game that happened, or a Mayo game, you didn't have to do anything else. Suddenly 15-20 minutes were gone.
I think everyone's had teachers like that. Not just the ex-inter-county footballer that Mr. Carney was, but I think every school back in the day, you'd have had that teacher to it, and you're thinking, okay, we get this book, if we get this man, just maybe try and knock him off the scent of actual work for a while. As Dossers now, who wouldn't necessarily be absolutely gung-ho on the books, like, you wouldn't be as keen to get work done, but sure, there's good fun to that too. So there is.
Of course there is, and it is a skill in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
To be able to dictate conversation.
No, absolutely.
Do you think? The next question is: do you think there's another All Ireland in this Mayo team? And I'm going to say with or without Kobe McDonald.
For sure.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
Is it a case the floodgates open? I don't know, but one thing that's not there. There's not the weight of 75 years. There's not the weight of 11 All Ireland losses and 2 draws on them shoulders anymore. We now know what it's like to win in Croke Park. We now know what it's like to win an All-Ireland final, something we've waited for generations. Like that, I don't even wait, that anxiety, the anxiety that held over a team, a county for so long, has just evaporated. Yeah. It's evaporated overnight. There's no pressure on them. If they don't win the All-Ireland next year, okay, disappointing. You'll get over it fairly quickly. Yeah. That'll be it. If they don't win it the year after, okay. But like, the pressure's not there. Yeah, the pressure from within. The only pressures that can come on that Mayo team now are literally inside that camp themselves, on themselves, and I don't think that's the Andy way of life, anyways, because they didn't look like they were playing with pressure this year. So no, and winning is a habit. It is, of course, and success breeds success. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. When are Mayo going to shut up about winning? Never. Yeah, well, I'd like to think the same thing. I think we'll be like the England, the 1966 England team. It's going to come home every year from now on. Absolutely. And I'm going to be there to torture people well into the future. Oh, please God. Well, I've already asked that question. How does it feel to be a voice of sporting history? And you've answered that. That's it. Okay, that's bad. I think we've covered all the other questions, so we'll wrap it up at that. I'm happy. Stephen, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on. It was a very interesting chat, and I really enjoyed it, and I know everyone will, whether you're from Mayo or not. What's for the future for Stephen? I don't know what the future is. Look, it's just enjoy things, really enjoy things, and kind of enjoy moments, take things in. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't put pressure on yourself to, I need to do this, I need to do that. See what comes, take what comes, and just appreciate the moment a little bit more. I think that's the best thing I can say to myself. Excellent. It's great advice for anyone. Yeah, I think so. And I think to any young person, if you have something you want to do or try to do, by all means, make the moves, push the boat out there. Ask the questions, because at the end of the day, that's what life's all about, living. Excellent. Stephen Grealis, thank you so much for joining me in the podcast. Guys, thank you very much for listening and watching to this very special podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, tell absolutely everyone. If you didn't enjoy it, tell absolutely no one. And until next time I'm talking to you, stay safe, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay away from yourself. Stephen Grealis, thank you so very much for joining me in the podcast. Pleasure. Thank you.